Hey everybody, it's your brother Major here. Welcome to another episode. Wait, it's your brother Major, my mama's favorite hope dealer here. And welcome to another episode of The Hope in Between with myself, Major, and my sister Eunice. The Hope in Between is a podcast that provides you with midweek relief because life be lifing and we all need it. So you're welcome. Before we really get into it, Eunice, I want to ask you this question. Are you feeling all right? We can do the recap later,
Mhm.
but are you feeling all right?
I feel amazing. I
Eunice,
really
I'm
do. How are
tired.
you feeling? I can tell.
Tired. I'm tired, Eunice. I'm tired. But
But you're
I
tired
am
from
grateful. I am
jet
very
setting all
happy to be here.
weekend? Yes, yes.
Yes, we can really get into it, but let's go ahead and do this. Let's take a moment to catch our breath. Let's take a deep breath in, beautiful people. 1, 2, 3. Now let it out. Take another deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Let it out. And this time, I want you to think of all of your circumstances, all of the things that are requiring of you, that are pulling at you, whether they are good, whether they are bad, whether they are stressful, whether they are burdensome, whatever it is. Take it all in and let it out. That right there is surrender. And what you've done is you've surrendered to the plan of destiny concerning your life. And for the person who chooses to pace themselves, what you have done is decided to allow yourself to be available in real time for all of the things that are working for you. It is essential that we not let life rush us so much so that we forget to catch our breath. Yeah, that was good. That was good. Eunice, let's get into it. Talk about your weekend.
Well, let me say, first of all, I feel very well lit. Let me say
Mm.
something. I feel kind of bright today because I have a light that has not worked in this office for since the pandemic. And I have a new handyman, and he's been putting in light fixtures for me. And I finally said, "There's a light," and there was trauma attached to the light fixture because somebody that I dated during the pandemic said they could put the light up. They didn't. It's been not working. Blah 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 blah.
A mess, a mess.
And so now that this light is here, I feel I have been healed in some way because there is light
Yeah.
in this office. I am wonderful. I did not have any shows this weekend, so I was able to stay in the house and just kind of, I've been doing a lot of renovations in the house. I've gotten a lot of work done, so that's been really exciting. But I've just been
Mhm.
minding my business, scrolling and looking at other people on stage showing out. We need to talk about something. We need to talk about something. What
uh-huh.
did you do this weekend?
I I was busy. I was on stages this weekend. I
Mm-hmm.
went to Detroit, Michigan as an invitation by the great gospel artist that is Dietrich Haddon.
Okay.
And Dietrich Haddon did his live recording homecoming concert in Detroit at the Music Hall. It was a beautiful theater, and he had some incredible featured artists that were a part of it that included Jay Moss, Vanessa Bell Armstrong. Remember the theme song from Amen?
Turn on
Shine
the
on
light
that light.
from heaven, Lord.
That's Vanessa Bell Armstrong.
Shine on me.
Yes, that's Vanessa
Yeah.
Bell Armstrong and Charles Jenkins and who else? William Murphy, Molly Music, Tim Bowman Jr., Tasha Page Lockhart. It was an incredible lineup, and I was super honored to have a really cool song with Dietrich. And it seems to still kind of be stuck with a lot of people after this weekend. I'm thinking this could be another single for my brother, and I'm just grateful that somebody I've looked up to would have had me as a feature for that. So Detroit got a lot out of me. On Sunday I sang for a church called Citadel. There I had I think like 3 media interviews mixed in because we're still promoting I Prayed for You, my new single, that's available everywhere. You see the hat, I Prayed for You. I
Oh,
made
nice.
that. I don't
Okay.
know if I want to use that because it's like hard to see the prayed with all the
Uh-huh.
shining light, but nevertheless, Major is working hard, but he is tired.
Well, listen, part of you working hard is kind of what I thought we should talk about today.
Mhm.
Today's theme, which is when we're
So
talking,
good.
it usually has something to do with something we're going through. And so a lot of times you have mentioned about being independent now in your professional career. And I think that causes you to work harder probably than the average bear. And then
Hmm.
I realized my independence. Well, the question is independence a gift or a curse, right? I feel like it's great to be able to do things for yourself and by yourself. I think that is amazing. I have mastered the art. The curse of it may be, does it cause you to self isolate? And is it more of a trauma response? So, your independence
Um,
professionally is based on what led you to become independent, or you haven't always been independent, have you?
well, independent being an independent artist doesn't necessarily mean that you're literally doing everything by yourself. It
Hmm.
just means that you don't have a record label to great degree providing you all of the resources to accomplish what you are hoping to accomplish as an artist. So there are independent artists that are signed to independent labels that just have a different scale of support and a different scale of financial backing to help you operate.
Okay.
I just so happen to be the independent artist that currently does not have a label at all. I did have a label at the top of the year for the past few years. That was an independent label, so the scale of support was not as big, but I did have some type of support.
Hmm.
Now, this season, it is major funding, the movement, and while it's a blessing to be able to fund the movement, I also feel it
Right.
because it requires a lot of me. And so there's a lot of delegation that's coming from me. I am a free agent, if you will, management wise, agency wise, and it's just is a little different. And
Right.
while I'm educated to do it, I definitely don't think life is meant to be done alone.
Okay. Now, that's interesting because I have a commercial agent, but I don't have any like comedy management or agency. And when I travel or when I meet different people, they always say, "Why don't you have any, like, you don't have a booker?" And I'm like, "No, I handle everything myself." A good portion of that is might be a little bit of control, but also for me, it's like sometimes I don't know that I've grown to that point, and then other times I think, what point will I grow to without it? Right. And so I think that sometimes as artists, as creatives, can be a challenge, but also as people. Because, like I said, I know people who, women primarily, I'll say, who won't go to a restaurant by themselves. Right. I know women who won't travel by themselves, or, oh, I couldn't go, or just won't pursue things because they don't have anyone to do it with. And I'm not mean even just a romantic partner. Sometimes their girls might not want to go. So they won't pursue something or go do something. I am the opposite of that. I will go do it, and then my friends will say, "Why didn't you tell me you were doing that? I would have went with you," you know. And so for me, I try to figure out, okay, have I gotten so good at this independent life in all ways, professionally, personally, that I am missing out on the community that might be available professionally and personally for my life. And so I love that I can do anything by myself and that I will, and I prefer it. But especially after the holiday, I love not having to do anything with and for anyone else because it's just me. I went and hung out with my mom. But I also started thinking, okay, is this good or bad? And that's a judgment, but is this how I should pursue moving
You know,
forward?
I think it's fair for me to re-clarify. I don't think life was meant to only be done alone.
Okay.
I do think that there are seasons and reasons to be isolated to where it benefits you greatly because there's an introspection and there's a feeding that sometimes isolation will only accomplish the feeding because now you can sit with yourself without distractions of the company you're keeping.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a hope motivation that actually speaks about realizing that sometimes that self-love and self-care is the company you've been longing for, because often, as an extrovert, we feed off of the energy of others, but we don't realize the energy of our own selves is just as giving
Mm-hmm.
as it is pulling from someone else. And I think there's a balance of the two that must coexist, because I can actually go to a movie, dinner. I can do a lot of stuff on myself, like,
Yeah.
and I'm totally fine. I'm married and I can literally just be like,
I
hey,
was gonna say, how does that work when you get home
yeah,
and your wife's like, "Wait, you went to the movies?" You're like, "Oh, wait,
yeah.
that's right."
No, no, no. I can. Now, if it's something we both said we were gonna watch,
Yeah.
that's when I would focus on that. But like, I can totally. I mean, I think because I lived a lot of my life single to it, so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily have to have people, and also I grew up with so many people in my life that I'm okay in those moments without. Like, I'm like,
Right.
I done got an
We're
overabundance
good.
of
I
company.
feel I think you definitely feel that if you grew up with siblings and a big family, it's like your adult alone time. You're like, I don't have to share with nobody. It is all mine. I don't have to ask, can I change the channel? But that's the thing that I was thinking about last year. I spent Thanksgiving alone in Los Angeles, and I felt so isolated in that year that I was in primarily based in Los Angeles. And now that I'm closer to people that I know and love, I still don't seek out being with them, but I feel less alone. And so sometimes that's how you realize sometimes your isolation is a self-imposed, it's a perspective, right? Because I still am not seeking out people to be around, but I feel better knowing that if I wanted to, they're 20 minutes down the street, they're 10 minutes down the road, you know?
Now we also have to realize we're more so speaking to independence versus just isolation, because independence is
Right. But that's what I'm
basically
saying.
a
How do you find that line? How do you find so for me, I'm saying I feel like my line is a little blurred from my independence and my self-isolation. That's what I'm saying. How do we check ourselves
yeah. I
on
I
that?
think I think I independence is a statement of I am depending on my own strength. I'm depending on the things that I know that I'm capable of doing. And that's where my reliance is going to be, because I don't want to put my reliance in on anyone else's ability or inability to show up fully for what I'm expecting of them. And so I definitely know that there are seasons where I'm just going to have to be in my independent bag to make sure that I'm doing the things that I'm wanting for myself. But I don't want to ever get so complacent with that being the only way to do it, because it will cause you to miss a lot of opportunity, because when you're operating in independence, you're limited to what you're available to. Because if you're
Mhm.
operating in independence, every task requires of you. But if you operate in a shared collective operation, you can other people can take the responsibility of the pool while you are available to another thing, and you can be able to show up, and now, I mean, you can then see that a lot more can get done from the collective, because I think
And
a
I think
lot of
it
people
also
go into the
inspires different
independence.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it inspires the thought of what else is available too. Because I can say, even now that I've found a handyman that will actually show up and do the work successfully, I have all these new ideas of what's available for me to get
Yes,
done now that I know that I have this person that has skills that I don't have.
you literally just said it. What it does when we work in the collective is it remove some of the real estate that is compounding within your mind to make room for new buildings, for new concepts. It makes room for the new goals and tasks at hand. But when it becomes independent, you're trying to clutter all of the stuff in and figuring out how to accomplish that. So now your real estate is just a mind full of thoughts versus a mind full of accomplishment or a mind full of things checked off of the list. Now, I know that our nature, me and you, we'll get it done.
Oh, I'll just get it done. Now I'm gonna get it
We'll
done.
get it. We'll get it done. But there's a proverb, there's an African proverb that I think you would absolutely dig. And it says, if you do it alone, you can go fast. But when you do it together, you'll go far. And I think that that's often what the conundrum is, or the challenge is. It's like, well, I can get it done. I'll just do it because I can get it done. But there's a further that happens when you're linked and locked with like-minded or shared goal focused partnership.
Right.
Woo! Because I can't stand working with somebody that just ain't on the same page. That's a
Well,
waste.
not even from the same planet. And,
Yeah,
and
right.
you have to say, listen, we can take the time to do it right the first time or take the time to do it again. I would have a preference to do it right the first time. Okay.
I like that.
Be clear. So, but that's the thing is, as I am taking an audit of myself, and I audit myself, my thoughts, my feelings a lot. And so that's one of
Same.
my audits is, okay, I love being by myself. I treasure my alone time. I entertain me better than most people, but I really do desire, and I think I would go further if I was more well-rounded in seeking social connections outside of work, because right now the only time I'm putting on eyelashes is, somebody's paying me to be there. And so, I'm like, okay, I rarely will say, I know what, I will take a shower and get dressed to go do this thing that is of my own fruition. I just am rarely that person. And you will appreciate this. I know you're gonna have something to say, but I also have been feeling like, I retired from dating 3 years ago. Maybe in order for me to be a more well-rounded woman and person, maybe I'm not going to unretire. I can promise you I'm not going to unretire.
Yes, you
But
will unretire.
no,
You
I will
will
never date again.
unretire.
Listen, dating,
Yes,
the
you
parent.
will.
No, well, let me
Yes, you
explain
will.
something.
Yes, you will.
Let me explain something. When I say retired from dating, and a lot of our women listeners will agree, and maybe some men too, but definitely for women. Most women have stopped dating because it is not fun, interesting, productive, inspiring, aspirational. And so it's the paradigm of dating that I have a problem with. That's why I'll never do that again. I will never meet a stranger and then hope based on somewhat of a physical attraction that we align emotionally and spiritually and metaphorically, and then when we don't, it just becomes an endurance sport and we just keep trying. I will never do that again. So that's what dating is. Now, what I was going to say is, outside of retiring from dating, I am opening for myself in the comfort of my own home, in the privacy of my own home, what my heart could do in partnership with yet another heart. Maybe a heart for Christmas did that for me. Not sure.
I like that.
But last week when I watched that, my dog is upset. She thinks I'm gonna love somebody other than her. But it's one
Listen,
of those things that I've been thinking, what would that look like? Not to date, but to actively
listen, the availability,
yeah.
the posturing of being available to potentially partnering heart to heart with another. Yeah. It should leave open a journey that does not have to fit your expectation. I think the way to live and to really enjoy life is to set plans and to set goals, but to be open to how we arrive there. Just knowing along the way that our only duty is to show up well while in it. I do think you need to relieve yourself from saying what you will not unretire from, because you don't know if the journey may just be that, and it actually show you that this time it wasn't a waste of time. This time the opportunity was right, and it's going to treat you well and show you that you too are qualified to enjoy this journey to the ultimate goal. I'm
Okay,
just
no.
saying, do
I'm gonna
not
say
say
no,
what
but let
you'll
me tell you
never do.
why. Let me tell you why I
Do
won't
not say what
unretire.
you'll
I didn't say
never
never. I just
do.
said I'm not
Yes, you
going
did.
to.
You're not
I didn't
going
say
to.
I'll
That's
never. Okay,
basically
but
what that
let me
means.
tell you
What does
something.
it mean? What else does that
Let me
mean?
explain this to you. It's like, is it something you're allergic to or something you don't enjoy eating? Give me
Yes,
something. What?
I don't like eggs.
Oh, right. Okay, we talked about this. Eggs. You don't like eggs. So if you tell someone I'm not into eggs, I don't like eggs, and then everyone is always telling you you just haven't had the right egg. Your feeling is, no, I've had eggs. I know I've lived. I've had eggs. I don't enjoy eggs. I would not consciously pursue an egg. And everybody says, no, you haven't had the right egg. And your
Mm.
feeling would be, I literally know this about myself. I am not into eggs. Not hunt up no eggs. Now, should I say I'll never eat another egg? Who knows how that will go? I'm saying I will not consciously hunt up an egg. Thank you for
See how
seeing my
you just
point clearly. Thank you for
see how
seeing my
you
point clearly.
see how you just rework that language to make more sense, because that does make better sense, but it
Yeah.
does not make sense if out of your mouth you say what you will do not do
So
again.
let me tell you. Okay,
You say not
let me
do
say
ever
this.
again. You will
Dating,
not date ever
let me say
again.
this.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying the
Go.
paradigm of dating. What is defined as dating by most. I will never do that again. I am open for peaceful companionship. I am open to partnership. I am not open to traditional dating by society's definition that I do not ever want to do again. Now, let me say this though. And I'm actually working on a new bit about this, a new joke. It's not a joke, it's sincere. Do you like Brussels sprouts? Do you like
I mean,
Brussels
now I
sprouts?
do. I didn't ever think I would. I never thought that I would
Okay,
like them
that is my
before.
point. That is my point. You still don't like Brussels sprouts, but you have found different ways that they can be prepared and you have tasted different things they can be added to that will make you eat a Brussels sprout. That's all I'm saying is everybody
No,
today, I
stop.
hate Brussels sprouts.
Abort.
No, listen, let me finish. Let me finish. I hate Brussels sprouts. Always have, always will. And people always try to force Brussels sprouts as an appetizer, at a restaurant. They say, oh, you just haven't had them like this. Oh, no, you got to try these. Oh, yeah, I used to didn't like. And I'm saying, hey, guys, you still don't like Brussels sprouts. You have found some kind of seasoning, some kind of balsamic glaze, some kind of char that allows you to participate in this Brussels sprout. But you too still do not like Brussels sprouts. You don't.
That is not. You did not make your point well
I think I
there.
made my point. Listeners,
Nah,
listeners, please
nah.
respond. Do you see that you can add a lot of different things? I can add enough stuff to an egg that you won't know it's an egg. That does not mean that now you like
Absolutely.
eggs. That
But
doesn't mean you don't
listen,
like eggs, though.
no, no. If the preparation is different, if the preparation is different, there's a possibility that what I am now consuming is something that fancies my palate. And so that's why I'm saying be open to whatever God or life, destiny prepares for you, because there's a possibility it actually may work. I have to make sure in my life, and I know I've been guilty of the opposite, but make sure I stop saying what I will never do, because you never know what may come around in a different packaging where that may be the very thing that changes everything for you. And it's like, I guess it was just how it was prepared before.
It's hey,
And
you
what if
like green
life,
eggs and
and
ham.
what if, right, and what if life has prepared that human being for you in a way that now allows that human being to show up, be it stranger or familiar, to show up and give Eunice everything she's been looking for.
Okay, now I like the way you changed that language to say it hasn't been prepared. And so we can do this all day. but do you remember that Dr. Seuss story, Green Eggs and Ham? That just
Yes.
okay. And so he would not eat them in a box. He wouldn't eat them in a house, on a train, and Sam I am would not, and then when he finally tasted the green eggs and ham, it was, say, I do like green eggs and ham and all the things and places he would eat them. That's what I'm saying. I want to get to the point that I would be willing to try the green eggs and ham.
I just think that there's power in language.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we don't know that we subconsciously keep ourselves locked in spaces when we say what will never happen, not doing that again. And there's just hey, I think that there should be a reworking of myself, that I continue to evolve to where there are certain tolerances that even the new you in your evolution of becoming as you become every single day, because Eunice is not who she was last week. We've literally seen episode to episode you evolve
Oh, here we
into
go.
a
Here we
embrace
go.
an embrace of your brother's wisdom. Because I'm just here to encourage you to
Okay.
be
Also,
available.
no.
Okay.
Also, ladies, and ladies,
I am not
also,
always the
and
same, because I
ladies,
embrace you as
please
too.
comment and back me up on this dating thing. Major, it is a different animal out here. So I'm saying, yes, I do believe I
I can't.
can and will meet someone, and I only need one that
Yeah.
will shiver me timbers. Okay.
That's so good. So stupid.
But in the meantime, and in
Yeah, yeah.
between time, I'm good. I'm good right here. But that's my point is, as I'm auditing my life and we're looking at the new year, I'm looking at inviting the idea of people into my life professionally and
Yeah.
personally in ways that traditionally for myself, just for myself, I would not have, only because I have a certain peace and contentment to my life right now. I'm not feeling like I'm missing anything. I'm not feeling like I'm longing for anything. So that's why I'm saying, oh, this is unique for me, because I'm conscious of it being an adding to, as opposed to a search for a completion of something. I can tell that
Well,
I'm good.
that part is actually the mindset that I think we need to be delivered from. Thinking that partnership is a completion. And partnership is not a completion. We're all individuals that can become, but it takes time. Your wholeness should not be predicated on what someone else is giving, or not giving. Your wholeness should be in a mind, in a like. Let me make sure I'm very clear on this, because I do believe that we in life will be forever kept, nurtured, and empowered by way of a mindset of, if we're all giving, nobody's ever left empty. But your state of wholeness, your mental, the way in which you think, the way in which you move, your wholeness should not be, they're my answer. It should not be dependent on, they're my answer to get wholeness.
Right, but see,
It
but that's what I'm saying. That's the thing that a lot of people do unconsciously. It might not even be a
Yes.
person. A
Oh,
lot of times
absolutely.
it's if I had this much money, I can do this thing. If I had this agent, I could
Until
do
you
this
get it
thing.
and you realize it's not the
Exactly.
answer.
So that's why
Yes.
I'm saying about that balance of understanding your independence and what you are able and capable and competent to do, and when is it time to invite someone into the process, right? So I think it's different for each person, right? It's some people who I have somebody in my life who I think would be great as far as a content creator, because they have so much content just as a human. And I remember years ago we were talking about it, and they were like, well, I got to get a videographer, I have to get an editor. I'm like, you have a phone. You don't, so many times we are conditioned to think we're missing the piece in a lot of different ways. If I lost 35 pounds, once the kids graduate from school, if I get this raise at work, if I get approved for this credit card, it's so many things that we tend to hold up our processes on. And so I'm saying I'm trying to look for myself and
Ooh.
say, hey, I don't need to meet another person to do everything I want to do. I don't
That's
need to sign another
that part.
contract to do anything I want to do. I don't need, I know this for a fact. And then there's this other part of me that says, hey, maybe you should take a conversation with the booking agent. Hey, maybe you should take a conversation with, and so that's what I'm saying, finding that balance between hyper independence, which my hyper independence is 1,000% a trauma response, but that line between
That,
hyper
that's what I
independent.
want to talk to. That's what
Okay,
I want to speak
to
to.
every, you want to
That's
talk
what I
to
want.
everybody, not just me. Talk to everybody,
That's what
not
I
just
want to
me.
speak to. Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Because I share that with you.
Mm-hmm.
I share it with you. It's a trauma
I have
response.
seen you share it with me.
Yes.
I've seen you
And
activate
yeah,
it with me.
yeah. When I speak to you, sometimes it's not just me thinking that you're the only one with the hang up, because that's
Mm-hmm.
you're no, please. I think a lot of us suffer through that
Mm-hmm.
for many reasons. Sometimes when you grow up in a family of so many people, it's impossible for you to be the priority of the parents or of the focus of the family. And so I definitely know that some of my moving and independence is a trauma response of the last time I relied on them. Your dog is barking because your dog gets it. The last time, the last time I relied on them, they didn't come through for me. The last time I trusted them, they didn't come through for me. The last time I took their word that they got this, I got you, they didn't got me. And so now, just to save myself from the emotional pull and stress and strain, I'm just going to do it myself. Because one, I know what I want. I know how I want it done, and I know that I have the tenacity and intellect to figure out how to get it done. And
Now,
so
but
so I go ahead. Yeah.
with that though, where
Mhm.
do you, again, because this is about balance. I'm 100% the same way. I will just do it. I will just figure it out.
No, no,
Now,
no. I haven't even finished what I was going to say on it.
but I want to say about the part you already said.
No, all I said was I was setting up. I
That was a
understand
long
that that's
setup. I
how
thought you
people
made your
move.
point 20 minutes ago on
No,
that.
no, no. The reason why it was a setup was because it wasn't just for you.
Okay,
It's
go
for
ahead.
the listener right
Continue.
now.
Continue.
I want the listener to know I actually get it. There are so
Continue.
many circumstances that create a trauma to this is the way that I choose to move so that I don't feel that anymore. Or I don't have to succumb to incompleteness in my life, because a lot of us are achievers, overachievers even. And so what I've realized is we cannot stamp every season and new opportunity as just because it may look similar, that it is similar or that it is the same, because we what's the word? We miss out on the possibility of the more that is available when we don't just choose to do it as a collective or to partner. That African proverb says, if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together. There is power in togetherness. In every single religious order, they literally speak to it, because this is the way of the world. When two agree, you have more power to work with.
I agree with that. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is how do we balance the trauma, the
Whew.
informed trauma response, right? It's informed, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't make this up. I know that
Absolutely.
versus becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because sometimes we're more attached to being right. And so guess what? It definitely ain't going to work out. And see, I
Yeah.
told you it wasn't going to work out. And so then you find yourself in this space of not trusting yourself or just being proud to be right even though it didn't get the outcome that you want it. And so that's what I'm saying when I'm trying to think of, okay, where am I in this space? I'm saying, okay, yes, I have been let down by a good portion of people, and that has informed my
Mm-hmm.
hyper independence. My handyman somehow metaphorically and literally is restoring my faith in people. Okay.
Wow.
And it's interesting because he shows up when he says he's going to be here. He communicates if there is a change in a plan. He does what he says he's going to do. If he is faced with a challenge, he stays committed until he figures the challenge out. All the things that I've been missing of people in the time that he's been helping me do
Mm-hmm.
these projects in my house, I'm like, this handyman is fixing something other than the lights in me because I am trusting him in a way I don't trust people. I respect him in a way I don't respect people. But that's because I would call a handyman. They would show up. They would take the deposit. They wouldn't show back up. They wouldn't do the job right. They wouldn't show up at, all the different things of why a lot of things have been in disarray in my home because I could not go through calling another person
Yeah.
to try to help me. So we just won't have no
Right.
light in this room. Right.
So
So
what
by the time I
happens?
can flip that switch and this light is on, I realize, oh, he's helping me open my mind up to the possibility of asking for help, receiving help, believing help is available, believing help is helpful, believing that it only adds to and does not diminish me as a whole. All these things because of my handyman. So,
But listen,
and that's not code
these
for
are the
anything else. I know sometimes
experiences.
people say handyman or maintenance man. It's
Nah, nah,
strictly
nah.
handyman stuff.
No, listen, I think
Strictly.
I definitely feel that is the gift that is your teacher in this season to show you that, yes, I know what you're used to. And yes, what you went through was valid and real, but you have not been through everything. You have not experienced everything. And sometimes in life, you will discover that there is a lot more experiences in the very area that you've had terrible experience in that will actually reward you, that will actually treat you better than all of the times you've experienced the opposite. And it's just called living, because when you once you block that off, you block off a part of your life evolution. You dead it. And so then when you try to return to it, it's an area that hadn't been nurtured. So you can't expect fruit from it. That's why it frustrates you,
Right.
because you dead it. You put it to death. That right there ain't going to be a part of my story anymore. No. And we just
Ever
have
again.
to,
Ever, ever,
if
ever,
we,
ever, 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 ever.
it sucks because it's like, I know what I felt like and it hurt. I will not put myself there, but that's why we have to surrender. Remember that third inhale exhale where we said, take all of your thoughts, take all of your concerns, all of the burdens, all of the worries, all of the not yets, take it all in and release it. That right there is surrender. You have surrendered to not only the God of the universe, but also the universe and also the destiny that is specific to you, because it ain't over, Eunice, until it's good. Life ain't
Mm,
over until it's good. Good is a baseline, Eunice. It's a baseline. These are
mm-hmm.
your words that I have used in
Mm-hmm.
99% of my interviews post that, and did not credit you. I'm sorry. I just forgot because it just didn't flow.
It's
Imagine
all
me
good.
saying,
It belongs to
you
you
have to
now.
understand good is the baseline.
Yeah.
No, no, no. I credited you on
It's
some
yours now.
recently. I
It's yours.
said, I do a podcast. Yeah. No, but that's the availability. And this is a tough lesson. Listen, we've had some jerks in our lives that have shown us in
Mm,
time and time again, and have given us ample reason to believe that it would be foolish of me to trust someone else. But when you trust the ultimate maker of the plan for your life, you then take away your feeling of dependency of that person doing the right thing, and you place it into whatever comes from this is actually working for me and not against me. So it shifts the perspective to be able to endure it a lot better. And it's easier
mm-hmm.
said than done, but it's much easier when it's done, when you actually try it one moment and one day at a time. There is so many dope things that are like in queue for you. Just like the one thing you shared right before we started. We don't go into it, but you showing up well was the very thing that met you with something that's going to help advance you for the things you've been working for. But had you been cut off thinking
Mhm.
people ain't about nothing, they don't keep their word, they don't do that. I'm just telling you. And your generosity said, let me sign this. Let me sign this book. I got this book for this. And then now you about to have conversations that's about to change your world. I want our listeners to be encouraged through this thing called life. Independence is a beautiful thing. And yes, you don't always have to wait on people for you to start. That's a takeaway. You don't always have to wait on someone else to believe before you start. So long as you believe and you have agreement with what you believe was the instruction of what you are to do from your maker, let them join the ride as you move. And you'll realize that you won't have to do all the driving yourself.
Well, see, a great philosopher once said, spaceships don't come equipped with review mirrors. They dip. Uh so I'm probably not going to be looking back once I rocket, but what I'm saying is there's people in the atmosphere, there's people already in space that I can form connection with. So I would encourage our listeners to do what I am challenging myself to do, which is balance. If you are hyper independent, look for opportunities to lessen your
Yes.
load and trust in community. And if you are codependent or hyper dependent and you don't think you can go have lunch by yourself, challenge yourself to find the balance of being able to trust yourself, love yourself, be by yourself, but also enjoy the love of community. I actually just saw this video that says community adds 7.5 years to your lifespan, community
Yeah.
and engagement. And so, like I said, I have wonderful friends. I have amazing friendships that are my family. I have a wonderful family. And it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, but I can actively be more involved in how this looks for me. And so I'm excited about what that can be because it's only going to add to a very content, happy, peaceful, calm person that I am today. So that's all exciting. I know in the past, sometimes I've felt bored or anxious or lonely or, all the different things that inspired the move that still didn't get the result. And to where now I'm feeling really, really good. And, it's probably approaching 52, 50 as well. I mean, 50 also, not
Yeah.
52, 50. um, that, as you just kind of start looking back over your life and you're like, look, at some point you got to trust that you done figure some things out. So you got to lean into being okay with knowing that it will be okay. And it always has been. I have survived 100% of anything I've been through.
Absolutely.
So
That's it,
I'll let
because
you know
you're
how that
here to
goes. And I
talk
don't
about it.
appreciate you
The
acting
very
like I've
things.
grown since we've been doing this. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like you acting like
I'm so
I've grown
proud of
since
you.
we've
I'm
been doing it.
so
I don't like
proud of
that.
you. Hey,
In the same breath, you quote
Mama
me in all your
Eunice,
interviews.
Mama Eunice, aren't you proud of your girl? We proud of her. We proud of her. Listen, you are very right, Eunice. I have quoted you because I too have grown a great deal. And I will leave it with this. When we choose collaboration over competition, we create community. It's Norland's
Mm,
story out of Ohio who said that. We shared it before.
mm,
That African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. There's so much that can be done in the collective. But beautiful people, you don't always need everyone to understand it, agree, or jump on the train with you to start. There's a balance, as my sister Eunice said, and I'm totally with that. Some things you can do alone, but don't make it everything. All right, beautiful people, this is The Hope in Between with Major and Eunice Elliott. Until next time, be well, choose well. Yeah.